amazing run. Nice. Oh, my brain!
Goodness me!
Oh, are you serious?
Imagine a cabin, but not just any cabin. A place that has its own private skate park, mountain bike trails, and backyard snowboard hill with a rope tow. A place that you dream about. Sounds too good to be true, right? We thought so too, until we saw these two idiots making it happen. This is Chris Grenier, professional snowboarder, X Games gold medalist, mediocre craftsman, and walking comedy show. And this is Alex Andrews, aka the Froth Puppy, a high-energy snowboarder, jack of all trades, and the ultimate hype man who's ready to tackle any impossible project. Together, they are transforming a simple cabin in the mountains of Utah into the ultimate off-the-grid action sports compound. Built on a budget, completely DIY, and all in the name of fun. This is the Cabin Report.
The plan was always to build a skate park. We didn't know how big or how we were going to pay for it. We just knew we wanted to build a skate park. So we started digging.
Moving earth.
Shaping quarter pipes out of dirt.
And we're welding them together. So
welding coping, and embarking on one of the most difficult but rewarding projects of our lives.
today we were working on the skate park and a rattlesnake poked out from under the cabin.
Building a skate park is an all hands on deck situation. You learn a lot about yourself when you take on a project like this, and you definitely learn who your real friends are. There's no way we could have pulled this off without their help.
We've been pouring concrete with the boys. Beautiful day. This is our fourth pour. This one's more like creative style. We're kind of doing some like quirky stuff.
It's like building a sculpture. It's probably the most gratifying thing I've ever built in my entire life.
You know what? We do a lot of technical projects, we do a lot of awesome projects, but we don't do anything as technical or awesome as this. You know, we do millions of yards of concrete a year, and this possibly could be the 50 coolest that we'll do all year. So we're super stoked about being able to do this job.
Honestly, there was never really an end in sight. We just knew if we worked long enough, it would eventually get done. Now we just have to find some time to skate it before we start something new.
So as a kid, I mean, it's always been a dream of mine, and I'm sure others, to have your own skate park. And it's pretty insane. Like it's still like hitting me actually that this is ours and that we built it ourselves. Pretty proud of it, honestly. I mean, it's not perfect and it's definitely DIY, but I think we did a pretty good job for really knowing nothing. And today's like pretty much our first day really skating it. We basically get to enjoy the fruits of our labor.
This here is the golf cart, AKA the butter knife. We got this thing maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and just a standard issue golf cart. We started jumping it a little bit, and then quickly realized you can catch some airtime on this thing. And my good friend Simon welded some suspension onto it. And yeah, man, this thing has been through a lot. we've had this golf cart for years, and one of my favorite pastimes is running over stuff with it. Really anything you can find. So we kind of just foraged through the side of the house, found some scrap wood, some old cornhole sets, and we're just gonna smash into them.
So we run these solar panels on our cabin and they've been working great, but today we need to move them to a more efficient spot on the roof to get more consistent sunlight throughout the day. We don't have direct power or direct water here. Part of this whole deal was to live off the grid. We're stoked that we have some solar panels and a battery and they work great.
I'm making sure AA doesn't take a digger here. Keep them safe. Do a little earthquake test. Earthquake test! I couldn't explain how the sun gives you power to give us light and electricity, but I like it. I'd like to thank all those really smart engineers who figured all that out for us, though. I'm not much of a school guy myself.
We work hard up here at the cabin. In the summer days, they can get really hot. Maybe one day we'll build a pool, but until then, we have an incredible swimming hole just down the road.
Growing up, I didn't really jump off many cliffs. So when I'm up there on top of those 50-footers looking down at the water, that's not really my wheelhouse. That's not really where my people chill.
Tune in for more Cabin Report after the break. The seasons are starting to change up here at the cabin, and as soon as we start to see the temperature drop, we start thinking about snowboarding.
So last winter, Alex built a rope tow out of a sit-down lawnmower, and that thing was unbelievable.
Basically, my dad owns a lawnmower shop, so I got the idea of getting this lawnmower and attempting to build one. I kind of just winged it. I mean, there was a lot of thought, but I kind of just went off of what I thought would work, and it worked.
AA. Don't doubt him, because he'll prove you wrong. It's not only is it a snowboard rail, but I can come up here and do CrossFit. Get my abs going.
We had really low expectations for the lawnmower rope tow to actually pull us up the hill, but it ended up working out great. Some of my favorite days last winter were taking laps up here with my friends.
We had tons of good times on it, and it was everything we could have imagined. But going into this winter, we wanted to build something a little bit more special that could tow more people up the hill for a bigger, longer snowboard run. What we came to the conclusion that the best solution is to build a rope tow out of a pickup truck.
And here we have it, 1976 Ford F-150. Thing runs like a dream, purrs like a cat, and we're gonna attempt to build a rope tow out of it.
I've had enough times where I look at Alex and I'm like, yeah, you're out of your mind, that's not gonna work.
Now I actually have faith in what he's gonna make. What you're looking at there is detailed dimensions on our rope tow frame. As you can tell, it's very meticulously calculated.
The plan is basically put in second gear, pop the clutch, and like have some sort of like bracket holding the gas pedal at the speed we want.
Really, the plan is there is no plan.
Getting the truck up the hill and in position for the rope tow seemed simple enough, but I think we underestimated it. This time of year, things start to get a little muddy up here, and that made for some less than ideal conditions getting a two-wheel drive truck up a really steep hill.
So that didn't work.
Plan B, come up in the morning, drive the truck up when the ground's frozen, did not work.
We got a winch now, we got a tree, we got a truck, we got a muddy hill. In theory, the winch should pull the truck to the top of the hill if all goes according to plan. It never goes according to plan though, so we'll see.
Howdy, dude. That was a good one.
So we just give it like its 6th try. It's the middle of the day, muddy. I was in second gear pinned and I made it pretty far. We got it straight and cliff on one side, and now we're getting this winch dialed in.
She's working. Inch by inch.
We're up there, baby.
So test 1 of the winch worked. We got it up the hill, to the top of the muddy hill, but it's a little too far to the left, so we got to move it about 5 feet over to the right.
This is actually pretty fun.
That was, I think, plan D. So, moral of the story is don't take no for an answer. Now that we've got the truck up the hill, we need to build a stand that will elevate the wheels in the air so we can get this rope tow running. Alex seems to have some type of plan, and I'm just following the lead.
I'm a little worried about the structural integrity of these welds. Kind of looks like a little kid playing with Play-Doh. When something doesn't look that good, you're kind of gonna get lit up by the boys for the rest of your life, no matter what you're doing, so. Double A, you know, just getting a little CrossFit going. We're mud dogs, okay? We live for the mud. Like, this is us in our natural habitat here. Now, I've been trying to get this nickname Mud Dog to stick. You guys could just start calling me Mud Dog. Instead of my name being like Chris Grenier at the bottom of the screen, it just says Mud Dog. That's what we're looking for.
You work.
Tell you, there's no job too big for the Mud Dog.
That's how we do it. That's how we do it.
We had a huge list of projects that needed to be finished before winter came. Number 1 on our list was to build a mountain bike trail. Once again, no idea what we were doing, but we just went for it, and it started to take shape. While Alex was pushing dirt and building trails, I spent my time prepping and welding all the features and rails for the snowboard park. We decided to give the cabin a little cosmetic love, a few repairs here and there, and a fresh new paint job. We definitely snuck in a few last-minute skate sessions before we sealed up the park for winter. We stocked up on firewood and figured out what our bathroom situation was going to be once the ground froze. We looked into it and decided a compost toilet outhouse was the best move.
I saw a dream actually come to life, like right in front of me in a matter of 2 years. And to me, that sits deep and real, and because it's my homies that created what we all drew in junior high. We all had the dream, whether we put it down or not, like it was there, and these dudes just did it.
Tune in for more Cabin Report after the break. It's been a really slow winter in Utah. It's January 19th, and we've seen 2 storms at the cabin. By this time last year, we had 6 feet of snow on the ground, and right now we are praying for inches. We are starting to see the storm cycles change, and hopefully, this is a sign of the rest of the winter to come.
So like anything at the cabin, this is a learning process. Our original rope kept breaking, did some research, found this rope from a company in Minnesota, showed up in a giant 400-pound spool, and now we're installing the rope. It's all a learning process, but it's also science. Mainly it's science. What we're doing is we're making all the mistakes so you guys don't have to. You can learn from us.
So our old rope would only haul like 1, maybe 2 people, but with this new rope and the truck, we hauled 4 up today, which makes the session so fun for everyone. I'm just like really proud of that thing working, and to have this session was really, really awesome.
We got our good friends up here. We got good weather. Seriously, it just reminds me of why I fell in love with snowboarding. Couldn't ask for anything else. I mean, this rope tow is absolutely unreal. You can hit a couple rails and be back at the top within 10 seconds. And just again, all day. Every minute of hard work we've put into making this thing happen was worth it, just for days like today. In typical ready, fire, aim fashion, Alex bought this gigantic Powder Mountain bus behind us, knowing nothing about buses, doesn't have a CDL, doesn't know how to drive it, and he's just diving in head first like he always does.
I basically grew up on that bus, riding Powder Mountain. Woody is the bus driver for Powder Mountain. He's been driving it for the last 40 years. And the second I drove by it, it's just that gut feeling. I'm sure we've all had it, but I had to have it.
I've been driving a Powder Mountain bus ever since 1980. Yes, I remember driving, taking him home over there at night.
I made the call, I called Woody, and he's like, yeah, it runs great. I want $2,000 for it. I was just like, this is my calling. I need to own this bus. And so we bought it. I have a million ideas running through my head, maybe a little tiny home, second living quarters at the Freedom Frontier.
He's got a rough plan. It'll probably change, but I think it's gonna be amazing.
This season, we've had a record low snowfall throughout Utah. So instead of waiting around, we decided to chase the storm. We loaded up the snowmobiles and headed north on a road trip in search of powder. And we definitely found it.
So, big day. We are picking up this gigantic bus that Alex just bought on a whim. He's learning how to drive it right now, which is proving to be pretty difficult, and he appears to be in way over his head. But at this point, that's pretty much standard operating procedure. Just another day at the office.
3 miles to the gallon, you hear that?
Prius. We're going green over here.
Couldn't be any better. It's like a Prius. We're going green. You can yell at me. I'm not yelling at you. Let's go. Bring it
Between
out.
waiting for the snow to fall and figuring out this whole bus thing, we decided we might as well put the skate park to good use. We had a plan to bring all our homies up here to cruise the Powder Mountain in the bus, have an awesome time, ride powder all day. As always, it didn't go according to plan. We woke up this morning, the bus wouldn't turn on. If there's one constant we've learned from working on this project, is that nothing ever goes according to plan. But you know what? We're really good at making something out of nothing. We're gonna scrape together an awesome day. For anyone out there wondering if the endless hours of concrete pouring, rope tow building, and bike trail digging were worth it, I would say yes, 100%. When you look at the cabin from a financial standpoint, then maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense. But when you take a look at it from the overall life happiness standpoint, it's worth its weight in gold. Every cent of money and drop of sweat invested has paid itself back tenfold, just in the experiences and memories made up here so far. The greatest reward in all of this wasn't building the freedom frontier, it was being able to share it with our family and our close friends. And at the end of all of this, we've realized that we're fully addicted to projects that challenge us, and though we don't know where the cabin's gonna take us next, we really don't see an end in sight anytime soon.